Welcome to Fraser Downs Live. Hi, I'm Norm Board. This is the second installment of our premiere episode, giving you everything you need to know to stay in the loop as to what's happening at the Downs. As promised, we have our Capper's Corner handicapping segment with Dan Jukic coming up. But right now, it's Backstretch Buzz. Tim Brown is our guest. He is a gentleman that has come a long way in this industry, from humble beginnings in Essex, Ontario, to one of the leading drivers here on the Fraser Downs circuit. Tim's on the other end of my line. He joins us. Tim, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me on, Norm.
Now, you started driving officially, if I'm not mistaken, 1983?
Yeah, when I was 18.
What really struck me was in that first year, you had over 260 drives. That's a lot of drives. That takes a lot of sales to do that.
Well, not really. My dad, he had a pretty big stable here at the time. So I think we were running probably between 50 and 60 horses at the time. So
wow. You got 81 wins that year, which is pretty nice. I always ask this of my guests. What was the name of the first horse you won with? A
horse by the name of Magnus Elmhurst.
Magnus?
It was in the Invitational, actually.
Really? Magnus Elmhurst?
Magnus Elmhurst.
Wow. You remember the mile time?
2, 2, and 4, I think it was, actually, on the half-mile track here.
Well, your best year, looking over your numbers here, you've had some big numbers. Your best year was 2002, 803 drives, 148 wins, $667,000 in purse earnings. Now, what I'm struck by is the fact that, when you did it back in 82, this was pre-Racino days, and the purses couldn't have been as good. That had to be a great year. What made that year so special?
I think that year in 82, there was a lot of my dad's horses that had some of the upper-class horses around the track then, a few stake horses, and at that point, I was kind of branching out and driving for other people. The first year, my dad, he wouldn't let me drive for anybody but himself. He said, until I learned, so... And I picked up quite a few drives after that for other people. So I was driving almost every race every day.
Well, it's worked out for you. $8.6 million over 2,100 wins. Like the old country song goes, that's something to be proud of.
Well, thank you.
Now, in recent years, obviously the number of drives have tapered off. Is that by design, family obligations and so on?
Well, yeah. And I get a little older, and, there's a lot of young people coming up and driving that seem to be a little more aggressive than, with the style of racing changing and stuff. And I'm more concentrating on younger horses now in my stable. So, and my daughter, she recently got her license.
Took the words out of my mouth because you were talking about younger people coming into the game. Amber just got her license when, in December?
A year ago, yeah.
A year ago, December. Okay.
Yeah.
And she recorded her first win, though, not that long ago.
Not too long ago. No, she's had a pretty good go this meet, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's starting to blend in and get a little more comfortable out there, so.
Yeah.
No, we're proud of her.
I want to talk to you briefly because you touched on it, the new driving style. I mean, I grew up from the old school where guys would rate their horses and it wasn't just turn and burn. Do you find that to be too prevalent in harness racing in general?
I do, and especially here. We have a small turn. Our first turn is still like a half-mile turn, and a lot of guys still drive this track like a half-mile track. It's all you can go off the gate and try to get your breather in the middle, and then it's as far and as fast as you can go after that. So it certainly has changed. There's not so much of a trip anymore.
Does it make sense, though, that if a guy like yourself who's used to, the old-fashioned rating of a horse, wouldn't your style eventually be more successful? Because I see it in guys like for example, Dave Wall in London. He's blowing by all these young Turks who have just been torching their horses, and he does it the old-fashioned way. He rates a horse. Does it work the same way on a 5/8?
Well, it's tougher here because as soon as you go to rate one, somebody's out and going at you.
Yeah.
It's just that longer straightaways and compared to the half-mile track. So I think the rating style, I think your horses last a lot longer. I think we've seen horses stick around for a long time, whereas nowadays they don't last as long because of the speed and the track conditions, I think.
You're also in the grandfather business, I understand.
Yeah, I certainly am. My youngest daughter, Caitlin, just had a baby on Super Bowl day, actually, during halftime.
Well, that's a good omen.
I only got to watch half the game.
Well, you would have missed it. Was it during the 45-minute blackout?
They said as soon as Beyonce stepped off the stage, so I guess he didn't care too much to watch hers. But
yeah. Well, congratulations. Things have really come together for you. What's in the future? Going to keep working with your babies and so on?
Yeah, certainly. Our plans are we'll stay to the end of the meet, and then we'll head to Edmonton just outside of Edmonton. We'll go to Bedrock Farms. My buddy Kelly Hort.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent the last couple summers at his place with the babies, and this year I think my wife and I will take a couple racehorses with us and do a little racing in Alberta Downs while we're getting the babies ready for their stakes.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, it should be a fun summer.
Keep having fun in this great game of ours, Tim Brown. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Norm. I appreciate it.
There's Tim Brown, one of the good guys. Good to have him on. We've got Dan Jukin standing by for our first installment of a new feature we're doing here on Fraser Downs Live. It's called Capper's Corner. You're going to want to know who he likes this weekend. You can't pick the horses without a capper. Dan's next on Fraser Downs Live. It's the initial edition of Capper's Corner, and with us we have the track announcer from Fraser Downs, Dan Jukic, who they just can't work hard enough, I don't think. Dan, how you doing?
Pretty good, Norm. How about you?
We're doing really well, and we are looking forward to the weekend's racing. A couple of big claiming series finals going on, plus the Fillies and Mares Open that we want to talk about.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting night because they are calling for heavy rains on Friday night with some wind. So we're going to have to see how the track itself plays. Will it be speed? Will it be come from behinders? You may want to watch the first couple of races to get a feel as to what's going to happen.
And that works out really well because by the time the third race rolls around, which is going to be one of the feature dashes, it's the Fillies and Mares Open with an optional claiming tag of $20,000. We get to see one of the darlings of racing, period, in the Mares division. Village Janice, Rod Thayers, brings her to the 6 hole by virtue of the fact that she's in the open section of the class. She's got some great tactical speed, but there's some good upfront speed as well. And I think it's important, as you said, for players to take a look at where the bias is.
I think that's true. She was an 8-time winner in 2012. I don't know. I've taken a pass on this mare. She is 6-1 on the morning line. She's drawn outside, and she just is not the same mare that we saw previously. She may come into her own. Maybe she likes the warm weather better. I'm not quite sure, but I think some of the ones on the inside of her are probably the ones you're going to have to take a look at, and that would be the 3 River Lass, who 14-time winner in 2012, just a one start in 2013 in the Fillies and Mares Open. It was almost, I wouldn't say a gimme, but she needed a race into her. Did finish 4th, did finish with a little bit of energy, which I liked, and this mare knows how to win, but she's going to have to deal with Prairie Illusion and the ultra-consistent Jan's Richger.
Yeah, all right. Well, you're going to go with River Lass then.
I am.
That's on Friday's third race, the Fillies and Mares Open. River Lass, says Mr. Jukic. Going to be the final as well on Friday of the Spartacus Claiming Series. That's got some nice horses. Who do you like there?
Well, it's an interesting race in that some of the competition is drawn to the outside. And, of course, being a claiming series, a lot of these horses have changed hands throughout the previous 2 legs. And one of them that's going to be very tough to beat is Classic Ambition. Keith Clark just haltered this guy for himself, and Doris McDougall and Vern Ray, but has the 8 hole. So had the outside hole last time, was parked for the whole mile.
Yeah.
Still ran a creditable race. But I'm probably lean towards the 8 Western Nitro. Does wear saddle pad number 8, but we'll start from the trailing 9 hole. Had the trailing 10 hole last time, was claimed out of the debut on barn, but it was a very, very powerful race for Western Nitro. Went 3 deep down the backstretch to gain the lead. It was just a quick brush, had the lead, and then just kind of held off Classic Ambition through the stretch. Got the jump on Classic Ambition. May get the jump on this horse again tonight.
Now, on Sunday, we turn to the other big claiming series final. Again, a $20,000 purse. It's the BB's Mirage Claiming Series final, and there's a few individuals here that look like they're going to be doing a lot of battle. Queen's Heritage, Pine Pitch Cam, for example. Your take on these two?
Well, I've headed to the 4 Queen's Heritage in there. It comes off back-to-back wins in both legs leading up to the final. Was haltered last time by that Hall of Fame trainer again, Keith Clark.
Yep.
Looks like he could hold all the aces throughout the weekend here in these big money events. And we know when the money's down, you can bet on Keith.
Are you thinking that there might be a sleeper here only because you've got Queen's Heritage coming out of the 3-hole, lots of gate speed, but so does Pine Pitch Cam? Could those two conceivably set up a speed duel that might pave the way for a late closer? And if so, who might that closer be?
Well, it could be the Rod Terrace trained entry, a pretty promised in Real Vintage, but both are not really in good form right now. Probably of the two, maybe Real Vintage, who is a 13-time winner in 2012, but has really not got her season on track yet in 2013, just the one runner-up effort. But she does have the back class, there's no doubt about that. Maybe Camon Mink, who's changed barns, is now in the Dave McKellar barn, claim from Keith, who had her just for the one start. But Queen's Heritage, she seems to be versatile. She had the lead last time, gave it up, and then came back on again after Pine Pitch Cam secured the lead after the first quarter.
Yeah, that should be quite a battle between those two, regardless of how the race flow goes. We'll be watching all weekend as Fraser Downs has their regular weekend of racing and a special one as well. We touched on that earlier with the Powder Puff and, of course, the great fundraiser. Always great talking to you, Dan. We'll talk to you in our next episode.
Thanks very much, Norm.
And that'll do it for this edition of Fraser Downs Live. Fraser Downs Live is a presentation of Fraser Downs and HRBC in cooperation with Ford Communications.